What is up, everyone? It's your host, MT. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den, where in today's video, I want to cover band rehearsal. That's right. I want to cover band rehearsal. Starting off with a big grammatical fail already. And I have 6 things that you can do to be more productive in your cover band rehearsals where you're trying to get together 30, 40 songs and be ready to go. And if you stick around to the end, I have one bonus thought that I'm going to throw in as well to give you 7 things that you can do to maximize your time. Don't spin clock and waste your cash. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Here we go, baby. So the first thing let's look at today is practice versus rehearsal. Now, I see this being confused quite a bit, unfortunately. And really, not to spend too much time on this, I would think that the rule simply might be practice at home, rehearse as a group. In other words, you got to know the material before you get to the session so that you can focus on working together as an ensemble and getting the tunes together than you trying to learn parts at that time. Not a good time, not a good look. It's going to be tough for you to hear what's going on unless you have the ability to plug in and play and listen with some sort of setup. It may be very difficult for you. Might be making noise that's frustrating to others, okay? So get your stuff together. Learn the tunes at home. You're going to save a lot of time, a lot of energy. And you're going to come to rehearsal ready to kick some serious butt. Number 2, very obviously and simply, arrive early, right? The old saying is early is on time, right? And that's important for a couple reasons. Load in can be congested. You never know if everybody has to come down a small hallway, up a rampway, in some doors. Having everyone show up at the same time or with just barely enough time, probably an easier way to do it. And I want to add right to that, leave space for those who are arriving late. I hate to mention this, but you don't know how many times that, whether it's through traffic or whatever it is, and this has happened more so on gigs, yet also on rehearsals, that there's always a person or two that doesn't seem to comprehend that there are other players showing up. You need to leave space for them so that they can set up, okay? And, if you're there early, sometimes the best thing is to stay out of the way or bring your stuff and set it up off to the side because a drummer or somebody who's going to be coming with a load of gear. Maybe better to make space for them, let them get their stuff in, and then you can set up around them. They're going to love you for it, and it's going to make things a lot easier. And then when you break down, it's the same thing. You can break down and get the heck out of their way, because they've got a bunch of stuff to break down. It might take them a minute, okay? So arrive early, because early is on time, and for Christ's sakes, leave space for others. We gonna be good, okay? Number 3, piggybacking right off of number 2, less is more or less, right? So when it comes to rehearsal sessions and equipment, I'm one of those people that I'm going to bring the minimal amount of stuff I can bring, and I'm not going to bring a bunch of different amps and what I might use unless I'm really trying to work with something. I'm just going to bring the minimal stuff. I'm not going to bring 2 or 3 guitars and, all this complicated stuff. You can work on that. I mean, you can probably get all that dialed in for yourself. And this is particularly targeted at you drummers. If you can get away with it and you're comfortable, bring a trap kit. Heck, I've worked with people who just bring a kick, a hi-hat and a snare, maybe a ride. It just depends. You don't need to have, like I used to work with one drummer, bless him. Once again, one of the themes in the Dragon's Den is that we've changed or avoided the names to protect the guilty. The innocent, okay? I used to have a guy who was always running late. He would have a ton of drums. He was a little bit slow and cantankerous in setting them up as he was late. And then he had to set up every tom and every cymbal and everything because in his mind, it would be like trying to play. He would always say, well, you're not going to play guitar or bass and take one of your strings off. That's what it would be like. I have to have every drum in the kit. Well, get there early, brother. And, I've played with some pretty brilliant drummers that show up to rehearsal with very minimal equipment. So just consider that. Less is more, right? More or less. There we go. Rolling on. Number four. Well, I hate to even admit that this needs to be discussed, yet when the band stops, let there be silence between takes. Yep, that's right, because usually it's being stopped for a reason, right? It's not being stopped because it's fun or that someone just had a nervous tick and they decided, hey, it's going to be better if I just stop everyone right now. Nope, they're usually stopping to discuss something. And so having you noodling around on your instrument while people are trying to discuss something, it's not really very cool, is it? And when you'll really notice it is when the band stops and it's something that pertains to you. And now you're having a hard time listening, figuring out what it is, even hearing what the person is, a band leader, whatever it is, that's trying to impart information to you. You're trying to have to focus over the din of somebody else noodling around. And you're really going to see the value of, oh, shoot, that's why silence between takes is golden. It's such a cool way to rehearse. I hate bringing it up, man. With more veteran and experienced situations, you don't see that too often. Yet, if you're new at this business, and think about it, if there's a larger band, 6, 7, 8 people, it doesn't take much to get a cacophony going when the band stops and somebody's tapping, somebody's blowing a little bit, somebody's playing a little, can add up real quickly to making a very dysfunctional work environment. So, silence between takes is golden. It's going to go further than you think it will. All right? We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. Number 5. What I like to do is look down a list and check around the room and see who knows what. If there are tunes that everyone knows, we're not going to rehearse those. There's no point about it. Unless you're doing something weird, that it's a rock tune and you're going to be playing it as a reggae tune or, something along those lines, or you're going to be changing the arrangement, or you're going to be massively speeding up the tempo. I don't think you're going to be wise to spend your time going over tunes that you already know. Sometimes it's cool to kick off the session with one tune that everyone knows. You run through it, you can get warmed up, get your juices on it. Everybody knows what's going on. Okay, everybody knows, let's do Superstition by Stevie Wonder. No disrespect, Stevie. It's a great song. But an example like that. So you can cruise through it. But with the tunes that everyone knows, you don't need to spend time on those. You just check them off. Everybody knows about them. And unless there's something strange going on, like I said, and one of the things is if it's not in the quote-unquote record key, then you might want to discuss that. But if it's like in the album key or whatever it is, or make sure that if everyone knows the song, but you're doing it in a different key, and obviously you'll have the key signatures next to the song, just remind people that, hey, make sure to check these keys because everyone knows it, But we won't be doing this one in the record key for whatever reason, man. I mean, whether you got instrumentalists that it lines up in a different key with them, or sharp and a flat with horn players, whether you're having a different vocalist who can't sing in the range of the original artist, there can be a number of reasons that it's not going to be in the record key. Got to let everyone know that so they don't spend time learning it in a key that when they show up to play it, it's going to be requested in a different one. Not a good look, okay? So let's not spend time on tunes that we already know. We can just move right along on those. Number 6. This reverse camera stuff is, there we go. Number 6, okay. No solos. Okay? That's right. We aren't going to take solos at rehearsal. It just eats up a lot of clock and time. If you know you're going to be getting a solo on that tune, you make sure you have your solo nailed. The band doesn't need to be your backup track. And also, if you play in a band with multiple players, and that band is maybe a little bit flexible, like it's not a pop band where you're going to paint by the numbers exactly as it is in the coloring book, right? There might be some musical flexibility. Well, then if you're a soloist, be ready, because you might get called out, right? The tune might be going great. You finally got the crowd up, and, instead of rushing on to the next song because it's on the set list, oh my God, if we don't play all the songs on the set list, right? Don't get me started. I used to work with someone like that. They would abort a song that was going great, and we finally had the room up and partying to get to the next song on the set list, because it would be a problem if we didn't play the tunes that were all on the list for that set. but we got them dancing. We finally got them up. Okay? So we're not going to do any of that. We're not going to take solos, and be ready for a solo thrown your way to extend a tune. And also be ready for, the band leader to go like this, right? Or like this. Because we're going to do it again. We're going to take it from the top. We've got them up. We've got them going. We're going to keep them going for a second, right? Right. Okay? So that's number 6. No solos. And as I promised, the 7th one, my 7th little trick here, which feeds right into number 6, I like to just do intros and endings on tunes. Matter of fact, it can be kind of weird, yet it's a great way to get through a huge volume of tunes. You just do the intro, and you do like one verse, and maybe a chorus, and then you go out. No solo, no nothing. If there's a bridge in it, you do that, right? So you go intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, or good night, ending. That's it. And if you can abbreviate that, that can be even great right there. The thing is, there's no need to go through the whole song, right? Every verse, every chorus, if everything's going to be the same musically, and the only change are like, verse lyrics. Well, that's for the vocalist to have together. And that feeds right into number 6, which was the same thing with the solos. You don't need to do the solos. All the soloists just need to work their stuff out. They don't need to have the clock ticking that the band needs to be their backup track so they can work on their parts. No, there's other ways to do that, okay? So really, it's really a brilliant way to do it. You just count it off. You go through the intro. You drop in a verse. You mumble a few words on it. You go through a chorus. If there's a bridge, you do the ending. You're out. Because those are the things, too, where sometimes you're going to have the hiccups. People don't come in right. There's a little trick with how the riff sounds, whether it's turned around, whether the 2 is on the 4 or whatever, or the 1 and the 3. So it's probably more important to spend time on getting your intros right and getting your endings right than whatever comes in between. If you nail your intros and endings right, the old saying is that people are pretty forgiving with what's in between there. So one of the great ways to save time is just run through the intros, all relevant parts one time, get out, you're done. Okay? 7 things that can help you shave that time off. Cut down on paying for the rehearsal space, or, driving your neighbors crazy. They have to listen to you practice. Wherever your situation is, time is money, right? So being more productive by implementing some of or all of these things into your rehearsals as they are applicable can make you more efficient. You can get more done. You can make more dollars. And you can focus on your original material. So you're not just being a cover band warrior. You're not just going to end up being an old lounge lizard. Okay? Trust me. You don't want that look. It's not a good one. So there you have it. 7 things that Marty thinks can help you be a more efficient band leader, a more efficient band. You can save time with your cover tunes if you put some of these things into your sessions, and you can be maybe a tiny bit more successful. Let me know any other ideas you guys have. Drop them down in the comments. It's always good to have a dialogue. You have other ideas that people can see. And myself, I'm always open to learning and seeing new ideas and opinions as well. Okay, you guys? You have an awesome day. This is MT from the Dragon's Den. We'll see you the next time right here. Until then, keep it rocking. You know what? I had a bonus idea that was bouncing around in my head, and I couldn't get it out while I was recording the other take. So, where is it? Right here, number 8. Number 8, as in my main man, the Mamba, right here. The 8th thing that you can do is, when you make a mistake, start close to where you made the mistake. I've worked with bands where they start all the way over from the beginning. They don't actually look at the mistake. They don't address it. They don't discuss it. They don't work through it. They just start right away again from the top, get to that same spot, have the same train wreck happen, and do that 3 or 4 times and wonder why they're not getting anywhere. Are you kidding me? Address the mistake. Work on the mistake as it's there. Don't skip over it. Don't wait till the very end when you go through stuff. Nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. Stop there. And one other thing that can be really helpful along with that. Sometimes when there are mistakes, but they're not tragic and the wheels aren't falling off the take, and especially when people know that they've made a mistake, it's better to go head on and get through the whole song, because a lot of times people learn more from getting through the whole song than being stopped and being told what they did wrong, especially if that mistake comes up again in the song and they're going to have an opportunity to correct it without you saying anything. If you can look over and you notice, okay, they noticed it. Okay, you noticed that. Okay, well, we're going to have 2 or 3 more opportunities. We'll just keep it rolling. Just get through the song, you guys, no matter what happens, because it's good practice to just get through no matter what happens. You become used to landing on your feet like a cat, no matter what it is. You don't let anything derail the process. And then secondly, like I said, sometimes it can be a great thing, instead of you having to explain stuff as a band leader or point things out, if you just let it go on and realize that your players are going to be smart enough to realize, okay, yeah, that wasn't quite exactly the way. Okay, here comes another chance on this next, similar song part where I can correct this. So you don't have to spend time talking about stuff. Just get through the whole song. A lot of times that will help cure a whole bunch of stuff that will, you can sit there and spend a bunch of time trying to tell people than just playing it and letting them figure it out on their own. Trust your players. They're smart, okay? That's why you picked them in the first place, I hope. Okay, man. That's it. I'm done. Cheers. Have a great cover band rehearsal. We'll see you on the next one.